Navigating money throughout your 20s can prove to be challenging, not even in your 20s, but irrespective of where you are right now in life. One thing that you'll see to become very consistent is that your money habits are often affected by society. In this video, I'm going to be sharing with you 5 middle class money traps to avoid. So this could be you starting out in life, or you realizing that you are under quite a lot of pressure to succumb to some of these money traps. Hi, my name is Lesedi Dawn, and I do videos on entrepreneurship, personal development, as well as lifestyle. Trap number 1 is lifestyle inflation. Let's talk about lifestyle inflation. Lifestyle inflation essentially is when you have more, you want to do more. All of a sudden, where you live no longer becomes good enough. The car that you're driving is no longer good enough. This often happens when someone gets a promotion at work and all of a sudden they're making a little bit more money than they used to last month or last year, and therefore naturally feel inclined to upgrade their lifestyle. That is essentially lifestyle inflation. Now, don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with getting a new car if your current one is giving you quite a lot of trouble, or you are finding that it's just generally dangerous to drive, or you don't have a car and you are looking to get your first car. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. That is certain lifestyle upgrades, but it's not necessarily lifestyle inflation. Lifestyle inflation is when all of a sudden your normal working car no longer feels good enough for you, because you earn more, so why can't you be spending more, or why can't you drive a better car, even though there's absolutely nothing wrong with your car? Why do we do that? I really don't know why we do that. So one thing that I would like to encourage when it comes to lifestyle inflation is take really good care of the things that you already have, and when you do make a little bit more money, put your new money to better use, to investments, etc. There's also absolutely nothing wrong with moving from one neighborhood to another, to a safer neighborhood. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Or going from a studio apartment to a 1-bedroom apartment to a 2-bedroom apartment. All I am saying when it comes to lifestyle inflation is that make sure that you are not stretching yourself too thin. Think about it this way: if all of a sudden tomorrow, God forbid, you lost your job, what would that mean for you? Does it mean that you have to move in with a friend? Do you have to move in with a family member? Or does it mean you're having to completely move back to the village? Now that tends to show that we don't have cushionings, or we don't save up for rainy days, purely because we are often just living in the moment, and that in itself is a trap. Living in the moment in itself is a trap, because as much as we want to always have sunny days, how do we even appreciate the sun if we never have rainy days? Rainy days will come. Seasons prove that. Seasons show that there's summer, there's winter, etc. So you have to apply a level of wisdom when it comes to how you live out your life. And one way to do that is to make sure that you don't succumb to lifestyle inflation. Number 2, let's talk about good money principles. Now, as it says, principles. If something is a principle, it is something that you do irrespective of the numbers. Like 1 + 1 is 2, 2 + 2 is 4. Essentially, in that case, we are adding something with something, right? If you don't have good money principles in stone, for example, saying to yourself, I'm going to save 10% of everything that I make, I'm going to give or tithe 10% of everything that I make. If you struggle to do that, when you are still making little money, it becomes even harder the more you earn. And that in itself starts feeling like a trap, purely because you didn't set any good money principles from the get-go. If you're struggling to save when you're making 1,000 rands or $100, there's no way you're gonna know how to save when you are making 20,000, $1,000, or when you're making $20,000, or you're making 100,000 rands. The further up you go, from middle class, etc., all of that, the harder it gets. That's why it's so important to make sure that you're setting these good money principles from the get-go. And it's never too late. I think often some of us feel like, oh, well, I'm already where I'm at. There's no going back. There's definitely small changes that you can make. And if you feel like saving 10% today, if you are currently saving 0, is a bit too hard, maybe just start out with saving 5% of what you make every single month. you'll realize that this becomes a habit, a very good habit that you've set. And this could be money that you are putting aside for a particular goal, or simply you trying to make sure that you're establishing an emergency fund. Number 3, keeping up with the Joneses. Now, keeping up with the Joneses is something that, it's just there, like in a very subtle manner. Like, we don't even notice that we do it at times, and it could be from the smallest things, like the latest iPhone, where you buy your groceries, or where you do your hair, or where you do your nails. And all those things are very materialistic, especially if you don't know the price that people have to pay to be able to acquire those things. Now, there's absolutely nothing wrong with having any of those things, but again, when it comes to money, there's nothing wrong with having money, as long as if money doesn't have you. Now, if all of a sudden it's becoming like the main thing, I think that's when you will realize that, okay, there's an issue there. And keeping up with the Joneses is a very serious and toxic thing, because many of us don't even know the price that people have to pay for the things that they have. What are they sacrificing? What schemes are they planning, and are they even getting their money in an ethical way? Again, absolutely nothing wrong with making money, getting money, having money. The more you have, the more you can share, the more wealth you can build. Absolutely amazing. I'm all here for it. But let's just make sure that we are pacing ourselves and we're not comparing our journey with someone else's journey, because at the end of the day, we don't know what people have to do to get what they have. Not even to get it, but to maintain it. Sometimes people have to take loans just to be able to make sure that their car is not being repossessed. Now, there are times like that where maybe it could make sense. Maybe you're going through a bad financial, I don't know, I'm not even going to justify for that, but I'm just saying there are times maybe where it might make sense. I don't know in what situations, but all I'm saying is that don't look at someone's life from the outside, crave it, want it, admire it, desire it, without knowing what the cost of that lifestyle is. The true cost of that lifestyle, is that the price that you would be willing to pay if you were given the opportunity to have what they have? Ask yourself that. Number 4, defining what success looks like for you. Now, I think the biggest trap when it comes to middle class is that everyone is often just flaunting their happiness, and you'll find that some of those things that they even do or have are not even things that you want, or even things that you admire, or things that you consider to be success. It's very important to sit down and figure out what success looks like for you. Does success for you look like having 3 months of living expenses in your bank account? Does success for you look like, driving a German car? There's a funny saying actually when it comes to, figuring out your priorities, whether you want to invest in property or buy a very new and expensive German car. And the funny part is that they say, well, you can't overtake on the highway with your bond, right? With your title deed, which is super funny. But at the end of the day, you need to know, like, is having a title deed, an asset, building wealth more important to you, or is being rich? Because being rich and being wealthy is not the same thing. You can use your richness to get wealthy. You can also be wealthy without even looking rich. I'm going to share in a different video about books that I'm currently reading and books that are on my list to read this year. And many of them have to do with mindset change, with having a growth mindset, and really just realizing that things aren't always what they seem. And it's very important to establish for yourself what success looks like. For some people, success looks like, having a set salary coming every single month on a set date. They love that level of security. So for them, success looks like security. For some, success looks like flexibility, the flexibility of being able to work from anywhere, to balance work and life. Even though work is part of life, there's other things that form part of our lives that are not just about work. Our lives are not just about work. So you need to be able to determine for yourself what that even looks like. And number 5, I think the biggest money trap when it comes to the middle class, or just adulting in general, is that many of us stop learning. Many of us stop learning when we leave varsity, when we leave college. Once we graduate, that becomes the be it and end all, which is very sad, because for me, it makes me wonder, does that mean that's your potential? That's it? So I think it's very important to make sure that you're always learning. Like, having a growth mindset means that you understand that there's so much more knowledge to be learned, even if it's just in your particular industry and your field, that closing a book when you graduate limits you and hinders your growth, and it hinders the kind of life that you could have. I am all for traditional education, as well as, modern online learning. There's different ways of learning. You can learn through experience, you can learn through, conversations, interactions, and traditionally you can go and, dive deep in a particular topic or a particular field that tickles your fancy. Or even when it comes to just your career and wanting to excel and be better and reach the peak in terms of your performance, and reach the peak in terms of climbing that corporate ladder. Often people tend to think that learning, again, is just in the four walls, but learning could be taking up a new course this week. It could be reading a book. It could be listening to a TED talk. And those things sound very small, but what I love about them is that they are small, but they lead to bigger steps, because they open up your mindset. They get you a little bit more curious. They spark a level of interest in you that hopefully, when it is sparked, you want to take it further and you do not stop there. And I think that is the biggest thing when it comes to most of us feeling trapped, is because we reach the pinnacle of what we thought we've always wanted, and we stop dreaming. And that is very dangerous. Like, you should never stop dreaming. Yes, you can have a vision board. I'm literally looking at my vision board. You can have a vision board and know that this is what I want to achieve. And I always say to people, like, put stuff that are bigger than you, put stuff that are bigger than where you are right now, stuff that you don't even know how they can even possibly come to life. And trust that God will meet you halfway. Trust that it's an act of faith. You literally just putting it out there. It will work itself out. Doesn't always mean that it's going to happen tomorrow, and it working itself out does not mean you're not going to have to do anything as well. Doing anything, what I mean by that is learning, putting yourself out there, networking, and just growing as a person. Never stop growing, never stop learning. I hope that's what you take from this video, and I'm glad that you're watching such content, because it means that you are serious about your personal development. And if you are serious about your personal development, I feel like nothing can stop you. So go out there and be great. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope that you found it insightful. Let me know what you think is the biggest money trap right now in society. This could be in your current community, or society as a whole in your country. What are we really struggling with when it comes to money? I think for me, it's definitely that often what you see, again, there's nothing wrong with having money, but the problem that I see is that money has a lot of people. And when money has you, you become a slave to it. Like, you're willing to do anything and everything for it. And I feel like that's a very gray area. Like, morals, values should be your compass, because when they are your compass, they become your North Star. They dictate what you can and what you cannot do, because if something goes against your morals, if something goes against your values, you will know that, okay, this is not right, this is too much, this is me being greedy, this is me pushing the boundaries, this is me sacrificing what I value to have more money or to win a deal. And again, that is a whole topic on its own, but yeah, I just wanted to share these middle class money traps that I've seen in society, and I'm hoping that you don't fall for any of them. But let me know which one is tempting you the most right now, and which one are you seeing being the most evident in society. Hope you enjoyed this video. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.